On 9 April, it was reported that a group of farm workers, of which brothers Mgcini and Zenzele Coka were part, protested at the entrance of the farm Pampoenkraal near Piet Retief in Mpumalanga. They were allegedly protesting for jobs. A scuffle between protesters and a group of farmers broke out and the Coka brothers were killed. 4 farmers and 1 farm worker were arrested and released on bail 3 weeks later. Large crowds gathered outside the Piet Retief Magistrates Court. They were told that Pampoenkraal farm will burn. Tensions were very high at this court, and this follows the killing of the Coka brothers. And now 2 additional farmers have been put onto the charge sheet. Yet the issues that led to the tensions of this Piet Retief farming community still remain unresolved. These tensions revolve around land issues, while escalating livestock theft is aggravating the situation. Commercial farmer 𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶 says it's a daily war against criminality in the area.
Lento yokweba lapha ngiyabona isikhona lana kubo 3 years 4 years yokweba kodwa manje nje kulonyaka ophelile nalo kube kakhulu izinga lokutshontsha.
Farmers say criminals infiltrated the area. Owner of Pampoenkraal farm, 𝗃𝗃 says this causes a divide in the otherwise close-knit farming community.
My verhouding met my gemeenskap is baie goed. Tot op 'n sekere stadium.
En wat 'n stadium was hy?
Die stadium wat mense begin optree teen sekere elemente en teen misdaad begin optree het.
The farm Pampoenkraal is situated in an area called Pampoen. This area is referred to as Pampoen. It is nestled in the valley between Dirkiesdorp, Wakkerstroom and Driefontein, and it's about an hour's drive away from the town of Piet Retief. It is estimated that about 1,000 people call this area home. Land issues in the area are centered around 𝗃𝗃. He took ownership of Pampoenkraal farm in 2008. He says he has always allowed his workers' cattle to graze on his farm, but that outsiders came in and started to share in the benefit. About 150 people live on the farm, of which only a few are farm workers.
Hulle bring beeste van buite af, jaag beeste in. Hulle ploeg grond in lande wat hulle nie mag geploeg het nie, waar daar geen ooreenkoms is nie. Hulle jaag hulle beeste in kampe in wat hulle reg het om hulle beeste in te jaag nie.
A mediating body representing farm workers was formed to address the land issue. The Farm Workers and Labour Tenants Association was established by 𝗃𝗃. About 5 years ago, 𝗃𝗃 represents farm workers from Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal and the Free State, but the majority of his members are based around Mkhondo.
We are the voice of the people that are living on the farm, because most of the time you find the farm residents and the farm workers, they do not know what is their right in terms of the living in the farm, because sometimes you find the farm owners, they are violating their rights.
𝗃𝗃 says 𝗃𝗃 gives people rights to land.
Die probleem is dat die verwagtinge word geskep deur Bongani en sy organisasie, en daar word sekere regte deur hom aan hierdie mense voorgegee dat dit hulle reg is. En dit is nie hulle reg nie. Maar en dis wat die spanning veroorsaak.
𝗃𝗃 says, based on the Labour Tenant Act of 1996, those who are associated to farm workers or labour tenants have a right to the land.
This issue of land, people, they have been claiming the land. And even the department, they have been apply Section 16 of the Labour Tenant Act. And then that process is another process. But for temporarily, we were asking, give those farm residents the land for grazing cattle and the land for plowing to make their living.
𝗃𝗃 led a group of residents to 𝗃𝗃's farm in June 2020 to hand over a memorandum of demands.
I'm the person that was signing and handing over to solve this problem of fighting. Can they do us a favor to give this resident at the farm Pampoenkraal use the land that you are going to grazing and using grazing for your cattle?
The memorandum demanded the resignation of 𝗃𝗃 and key members of his management team. 𝗧𝗵𝗀𝗀𝘆 also accused 𝗃𝗀𝗃 of poisoning the farm residents' cattle and demanded replacement. They further demanded electricity for residents as well as plowable land. 𝗃𝗀𝗃 denied he poisoned the cattle and dismissed the request for his resignation. He did approve electricity to be installed by the municipality, but declined the request for land.
Hoe kan ek meer grond vir hulle gee? Die grond boer ons self op. So dis produktiewe grond wat hulle net wil hê. Ek kan nie net goed vir hulle gee nie.
When their demand for land was denied, protests started and the road next to Pampoenkraal was frequently blocked. Farm workers say they were stopped by people among the protesters with unknown affiliations who demanded money from the passers-by. This intersection next to Pampoenkraal connects the towns of 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃, Amersfoort and various other towns. It's a busy road used by farmers, farm workers, school buses and trucks. The informal roadblock prevented farm workers from passing.
It doesn't matter how many times you're going to pass there in one day. They still want you to pay every time you're passing there. And then I say to them, but you guys are blocking me and you're protesting against this farm at Pampoen, but I don't work at Pampoen.
To be represented by 𝗧𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗆's organization also comes at a price.
To be a member of the organization, you need to pay the application membership of 250 for annual. And then to making the organization to getting to move, we're paying the subscription of 150 per month.
The organization has 700 members. Each member pays a subscription fee from February to November. In total, the organization collects more than R1 million annually from farm workers. Meanwhile, farm workers and herders say they're living in fear as the violence with which the livestock thieves operate intensified over the last year. Mabuza and other farmers say their herders are too afraid to report missing stock, as they know they would have to trace them back to the same criminals.
Ngahamba mina myself ngabalashala ngathatha isibhamu sami esikhulu ngaqonda khona ngafika ngabashaya abafana bakhona ngathi kusuka namhlanje inkomo yami ngifuna ukuyithola ngayithola isihamba nerubhe ekhanda manje kusiphethe kahle.
Herders and guards are cornered by the criminals in the evenings and over weekends at social events and gatherings.
Into kusiphethe kababelusi laba balusa sibaqhashile sabaze bayasaba. Ngoba manje uma kuthola ukuthi utholiwe uyagwazwa ushaywe nami njengomunye umntana mawagwazwa nomunye ngalo makhelwane naye waba nomuntu wagwazwa.
Farmers, workers and herders know who all the criminals are.
Bobalekelani zona? Bobalekelani zona? Bobalekelani zona? Bobalekelani zona? Stop! Bobalekelani zona?
Mabuza says the criminals are all young men under the age of 25 and no one is spared their revolt.
Abakhethi umlungu umnyama umgogo bayikhipha ushe ibayini ebusuku bayikhipha ebusuku inkomo thothi lo mntaka ugogo uthothi ugogo washiwa ubaba akasana lutho bakhipha noma 4 yenkomo 5 bayitshontshe bahambe nazo.
The ruthlessness with which the criminals operate is of great concern.
Amazinyane la hamba bayawanquma nje bawalahle namanje phone ya ungazi bahamba nalabonina bese bayawanquma nje bawalahle lapho abawenzi lutho kubhlungu kakhulu.
On one farm, 18 lambs were ripped from their mothers and thrown to their death down a cliff. 𝗀𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗃 says these acts are messages of anarchy indicating that the criminals are untouchable. Zondo established an anti-stock theft movement called 𝗀𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃.
Ngibone kuntshontshwa kakhulu imfuyo yabantu nabelungu. Ngase ngithi ke mina nje nami ake ngenze okunye okuhlukile ngoba beyikhona inhlangano ebeyikhona bebayibiza ngokuthi iskepe. Manje ngibuka istrategy sayo sokushaya kakhulu abantu and then ngabona ukuthi no la siyogcina siboshiwe.
𝗀𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃 comprises of footprint trackers, herders and informants, chasing down criminals and handing them over to the police. Zondo says there's always been peace in the community and that the tension is brought in from the outside.
Uyabona ndodana uma wena uhlala le mina ngihlala la kule plus and then ungayazi impilo yala
So ufuna
ungena uyabo lapha ya labantu abaqhamuka ngaphandle bafuna ukuthi kuxovekelele.
𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃 joined forces with 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗀 to curb livestock theft in the area.
Mense is betrokke by misdaad. As hulle betrokke by misdaad is, dan word dit opgevolg. En dan word daar arrestasies gemaak. En die mense hou nie daarvan om gearresteer te word nie. En die misdaad is 'n baie groot bedryf in hierdie omgewing. Daar's baie geld wat daarbey betrokke is.
𝗧𝗏𝗀𝗀𝘀 says the farmers must leave the crime fighting to the police.
Most of the time, the white farmers, they are accusing the resident, that the people that are staying at the farm, they are stealing their livestock. And then that is true, but they don't follow the right procedures to investigate.
According to the Mpumalanga Provincial Police, 121 cases of stock theft were opened since January 2021 at the Piet Retief and 𝗀𝗃𝗱𝗀 stations. Potgieter and Andries Pienaar were arrested for murder and kidnapping on 17th May, linked to the 9th April incident at Pampoenkraal. 𝗧𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀 says he brought the charges.
It's our organization that bringing the charge into the court because we are not happy the way that Mr. Potgieter and his crew that is doing at the farm.
Potgieter and Pienaar were released on bail, but on 28th May, Potgieter was arrested again along with his management team. They are accused of allegedly killing stock thieves in August 2020. These charges were also brought by 𝗧𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀.